A decade ago, there was really nothing going on in the state of California in an organized way to think about the future of agriculture.
Roots of Change is a California-based collaborative involving foundations, nonprofit groups, government, business leaders, and community members who are all rallied around this idea of creating a sustainable food system in the state of California by the year 2030.
Roots suggests systemic thinking, systemic nutrients, and that's what rock is about. Rock is expansive in its thought process, and in a way it engages the whole food system.
The first thing that Roots of Change did was to create the Vivid Picture Project. This document pulled together a vision of what a sustainable food system would look like by the year 2030. We put the document out to policymakers and the public so they could begin to think about what it would mean.
One of the first things that they did was to establish a very diverse advisory board that could advise and provide counsel on ways of operating, but immediately created a very broad network within the state of California.
I know that the economic times are hard now, but I think that we're going to come out of that. And Rock is definitely in a position to move forward these innovative ideas and bring them to scale.
Another important thing that we've done is create a network of young leaders through our fellowship program. We actually now, I think in the last almost 4 years, have given 60 fellowships to people from all over the state of California who are interested in the future of food and agriculture. And we give them an opportunity to build relationships so that they can actually begin to collaborate more effectively on their work.
Rock's ability to convene a diverse group has been amazing to me. If I look at the group of people who I have the pleasure of being with and learning with and looking at our system with, we all have a variety of different backgrounds, different passions.
What my participation in the Rock Fellowship has allowed is me to be able to enter into conversation with people in conventional agriculture with a whole different perspective and lens.
So the relationships that I built through the Roots of Change Fellowship Program have come into my life again and again, because I think that the way that they selected the group was just people who were doing innovative things, looking at the relationship between business and sustainability in food, which is really the area that I live in now. And so getting a deeper sense of what other people were doing in this space was crucial. But it also, to me, taught me the value of having collaborators in different spaces too.
CRAE was started 6 or 7 years ago with the thought being to bring agriculturalists, environmentalists together to establish relationships, work on projects together, develop trust level such that we could do collaborative work in areas where we had common agreement.
If you can build on the common rather than look at the things that divide you, you can create new energy and new synthesis around things that everyone agrees on. We can all agree that we want a healthier, safer food system. We all can agree that we want healthy rural areas. ROCS is in a very brilliant way, creating the mechanism so people are sitting in the same room.
When we founded the California Roundtable 5 or 6 years ago, it was radical to be bringing the big conservative farm organizations and the environmental groups all to the same table with the idea that we might agree. That was unconventional just 5 or 6 years ago, and now that's commonplace.
It's a safe place to express your opinion, and I think we've done some excellent work in terms of making some impacts on policy, funding, and just creating relationships.
Another good example of activity that Roots of Change is involved in is the creation of sustainable food shed policies for the 6 largest cities in the state of California. We began in San Francisco with Gavin Newsom. We're now working with Mayor Villaraigosa in Los Angeles to craft food policies that are focused on purchasing sustainable food from within a 100 to 200 mile radius around the cities.
Roots of Change has been helpful in creating the Good Food Agenda for Los Angeles because they brought the urban-rural roundtables to the work of the Los Angeles Food Policy Task Force. We worked very closely in creating 3 roundtables to help inform the Food Policy Task Force and to bring in more of the regional perspective into the discussion. It's a very talented organization that understands how to move effectively with all these groups. So we're really hoping that they'll continue to be our partner in this.
We create a place where new projects of scale can be born. For instance, we organized with 6 NGOs up and down the state a project which now involves 45 farmers markets that is basically an innovation on how you can use food stamps and WIC vouchers, women and infant children vouchers, so that low-income people can come to a farmer's market and double the value of their government support for good nutrition. And the incredible thing is, it's now in 13 states, and Michelle Obama has incorporated this idea, which was born here, into her Let's Move campaign.
Through Roots of Change, we've met other people working with farmers markets all around the state. Some are attempting to promote food stamp usage at the farmers markets, and others are just trying to get their markets to accept food stamps in the first place.
And the state of California now, through the Department of Food and Agriculture, is working and has completed the first phase of a vision for California agriculture to the year 2030, which is exactly what the Roots of Change has been working on and was the impetus, I think, to get the state to do something.
Roots of Change has completed its first 5-year plan. We accomplished what we set out to do, which is to build a statewide network and put a face on the good food movement in California. In the next 5 years, it's essential that we scale up what we've started. We've got a healthy food and farm bill that we need to pass. And we need to create regional food system businesses and jobs across the state.
So now we've got all this interest in food. This is a bigger game now. It's a bigger issue. It's a mainstream issue. They need an organization like ROC. They sort of protected this flame. It's like they've been holding onto this flame and now it's this wildfire.